Welcome to another episode of Social PR Secrets. My name is Lisa Beyer, and I'll be your host. Today is going to be a solo episode, and it's that time of month where we're going to be talking about my 21 favorite things, my 21 favorite things October edition. If you're listening to this episode and it's November, December, or sometime in 2022, have no fear. Most of what I'm talking about is evergreen, or at the very least will be inspirational for your PR and digital marketing world. This month's 21 things to boost exposure, energy, sleep, and save time. We had so much fun creating this list. And if you have any ideas or would like to submit an idea for one of my 21 favorite things, please send it to lisa@thebuyergroup.com. So the first section of my 21 things, and I'm actually just going to give you my top 10 21 things for this audio version of it. And if you like what you're hearing, check out the link in the show notes and you can see the entire list. But for now, I'm going to pick out my top 10 of my 21 things for the month of October. So first off, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, the metaverse, these are all techie buzzwords that are getting real when it comes to marketing and also public relations and branding and business in general. So looking at artificial intelligence for designers, and if you're wondering, this has been happening to me since forever with clients where we get photos that are really low quality photos. And what we really need are high quality photos, high resolution photos. So there's an app for that. It's called AI Let's Enhance. And what it does, amongst other very cool things, is it can turn your low res images into high res images. It can remove backgrounds. It can remove fixed photo bombs from any image and turn any image actually into a website. So it's totally cool. So check out Let's Enhance, and the link will be in the show notes. My next favorite thing when it comes to AI is another tool that is called Synthesia. And thank you, Dennis Yu, for shouting out this idea for an app. I joined Dennis on a Clubhouse interview a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about all of the tips and tricks when it comes to repurposing content. And if you're in the PR world or in the marketing world, you know how valuable it is to, or you can even think of how valuable it could be to repurpose content and make your job easier from very high quality content, such as a podcast, and taking that and slicing it, dicing it to ebooks and into all different types of content. So zeroing in on Synthesia allows you to create artificial intelligence video and also create a custom avatar. So wouldn't that be cool to create a custom avatar that's actually doing some of the spokesperson talking for you? So with that, check out synthesio.io. Another repurpose secret tool I want to let you guys know about, if you don't already know, is called Designer. So Designer is super cool. It allows you to turn podcasts or even your top performing blog posts into ebooks or newsletters, saving you a great deal of time and helping you take that super high performing content and turning it into other types of content. Moving on to the metaverse and some new podcasts and guides. So you've probably heard me talk about the metaverse in the past, and also Kathy Hackle. So those two words kind of go hand in hand, Kathy Hackle and the metaverse, especially when it comes to the metaverse and marketing. So Kathy just recently launched her podcast partnering with Adweek called the Metaverse Marketing, Adweek Metaverse Marketing. So I highly recommend you tune into this podcast. It's Adweek's Metaverse Marketing Podcast. It just launched about a month ago, and Kathy covers all kinds of topics that are related that brands need to know when it comes to advertising, marketing, and also public relations. So definitely check out Kathy's latest podcast. Speaking of brands and branding, now we have a Brand's Guide to the Metaverse by Alan Smithson. So I've been following Alan on LinkedIn for about the past year. He is another metaverse expert. So I put the link to Alan's Brand's Guide to the Metaverse in the show notes. Definitely check that out. You will learn so much. It's definitely, you won't feel like you don't know enough to read it. It's a great starting point if you don't know anything about the metaverse and you want to learn how you can integrate the metaverse into your branding and marketing. So definitely check that out. Moving on to the topic of digital detox secrets for energy and for women. So recently, I just attended my second in-person event since the pandemic, and that was my baby bathwater mastermind. And I was very pleasantly surprised to have there be a health track. So each morning from about 8 a.m. to noon, we had different hours of health and fitness types of classes that we could drop in on. So I dropped in on Lee Holden. He was holding the Qigong classes each day at around 10 a.m. And I had never heard of Lee in the past, but I had heard just this year of Qigong. And I found out about Qigong when I visited Canyon Ranch, and I really wanted to take a Tai Chi class, and they didn't have any. So I was matched up with the Qigong one-on-one. And I almost canceled on it because I thought, this sounds really boring. I don't know what Qigong is. It ended up being the highlight of my trip. And Lee Holden actually is the hero of Qigong when it comes to YouTube, and he had his own show on PBS. So I put a link to one of my favorite, it's a 10-minute wake up with Lee Holden and Qigong that you can watch on YouTube. And I've been doing it every morning since. And what it does is it just helps you create this very positive energy through your body and your mind that helps you start your day in the best possible place, helps you start your day from the best possible brain, from mind, body, and spirit. So check out Lee Holden's YouTube channel, where you'll find Qigong for sleep, Qigong for waking up, Qigong for stress. And what I love about all of his videos is that they're all like 10 minutes, 20 minutes at the most. So check it out. I had one of the best nights sleep that I've really had in a long time last night after I did the Qigong for sleep for the first time. So check it out. A new book that just came out is called Crushing My Beast. And this is from, the author's name is Chris Moran. And if you're not following him on LinkedIn, I don't know how I came across him, but he has over 18,000 followers after just joining LinkedIn and sharing his story on how his journey on becoming sober. And it's really fascinating. He posts very inspirational posts, and he is now dedicated to helping professionals get sober. So you can follow him and watch what he's doing on LinkedIn. His name is Chris Moran, and the link can be in the show notes, but also check out his book, Crushing My Beast. It's super inspirational. Moving on to some events to thrive and grow for this month and the rest of the year, and even into 2022. So I'm really excited to talk about, I think for the first time on Social PR Secrets, the Female Disruptors Virtual Summit that is coming in January of 2022. So if you're not familiar with Female Disruptors, let me tell you about it. So Female Disruptors started out as a passion project of mine that I launched in a couple years ago on International Women's Day. And it was during the whole Me Too movement that I got really pissed off and inspired, and I wanted to do something to help shine the spotlight on women that are disrupting in their industry, in their business, whether it's mompreneurs, entrepreneurs. So I had this idea during yoga that I wanted to start this publication where I could interview female disruptors. And I thought Female Disruptors was a great name. And as soon as I got out of my yoga class, I went to GoDaddy and looked up femaledisruptors.com. And believe it or not, nobody owned it. I bought it for whatever, $10, and launched it on International Women's Day, and launched it by interviewing the first female disruptor that I can ever remember meeting. Her name is Charlene Lee. And I'm very grateful that she did the interview with me. And since then, we interview women each month who are disrupting in their field. We also focus on news that's going to make a difference to females. And, let's just keep in mind that the future is female. So now what I've done is I've invited my past female disruptors that we've interviewed to come and work with me on the Female Disruptors Summit, where they're going to share their journey on how they were able to disrupt in their field and what success looks like, and tips that you can also use and apply to building your success. So I invite you to Sign up for more information on the Female Disruptors Virtual Summit coming in January 22. If you want to be a speaker, or you know somebody that should be featured that we should know about, or if you have news that female disruptors would be interested in, please send them our way. All of the links will be in the show notes. And now I want to share with you, of course, some of my favorite social PR secrets. How appropriate. So a couple of cool things. I spoke about Dennis Yu earlier, and he's actually been a guest on Social PR Secrets a couple times. And he hosts what's called digital marketing office hours. And Dennis is brilliant, but for $100 a month, you can sign up for his office hours and get hands-on advice directly from Dennis and his community. So I put the link to where you can find out about Dennis Yu's digital marketing office hours. I think it's brilliant. Let me see, what is a couple others of my favorites that I want to talk about, and then I'll leave the rest for your imagination, or you could head on over to my show notes and get the link to the full list. So there was an article, I thought this was kind of funny, called, "Oh my God, my boss follows me on Instagram." Is that creepy, or is that the new culture that we're in? And I'd love to hear what your opinion is on that, because with my team that I work with at the buyer group and some of my brands and my clients, it's kind of normal to follow each other on social. But we're in the social space. We're, talking about social PR. We're talking about social media. But I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts? Is it weird if your boss follows you on Instagram if you're in another industry? Let us know. And we've also talked about virtual beings in a past episode when it comes to using augmented and virtual reality and artificial intelligence for your marketing purposes. So you can actually create a virtual being instead of, let's say, you're looking for an influencer, you're looking for that perfect influencer. You can actually create that perfect influencer, or if you don't have the money to hire that specific model, there is another tool that I want to share with you on how you can do that. And that is called rosebud.ai. So what it lets you do is it lets you create all kinds of content using artificial intelligence, whether it might be turning up some sort of like a portrait into an avatar, or creating the perfect model for your brand. It sounds kind of futuristic, and you have to actually see it to believe it. So check out rosebud.ai for more and see what kind of inspiration you can get from looking at some of these tools using artificial intelligence and using it to create content and bring attention to your brand and get noticed in the newsfeed. So that's a wrap. I didn't talk about all of my 21 things. I talked about my favorite 21 things that I really feel like you need to know about. So if you have a 21 thing, if you have a thing that you should be, if you have something that you think should be on my 21 things or that I should know about, please reach out and let me know. If you want to subscribe to the email version, you can find the link to subscribe in the show notes. And with that, I'm going to say namaste until next week. Thank you so much for joining me on Social PR Secrets. Thank you for listening to this episode of Social PR Secrets. If you like what you heard, check out the book on Amazon or follow our blog at socialprsecrets.com. This episode was sponsored by The Buyer Group, a social PR agency striving to keep our balance in the digital world, practicing public relations, social media, and search marketing, while occasionally drinking a glass of wine or two for the best creativity and results. Thank you all for tuning in.